The far-right leader, Marine Le Pen, has been banned from running for office after being found guilty of embezzlement.
The judge told the courtroom that, yes, Marine Le Pen will not be able to run in the next election.
This whole thing just gets so convoluted where it's, hey, how can we bog down somebody to prevent them from running? Should we be more concerned about someone not leaving office? Le Pen, over there in France, now is basically barred from running for national office. And this is a trend that you're seeing with the left. When they talk about totalitarianism, they always want you to be afraid that Donald Trump or a Republican or a right-wing person isn't going to leave office. For some reason, they leave out the fact that consistently in recent history, they are the ones who abuse the systems to bar their political opposition from running for office. So, for example, we saw it with Bolsonaro. We saw them try to do it with President Trump. Of course, they're trying to ban the AfD completely. And this is what is happening right now in France with nationalists who, by the way, was many, many points ahead when people were taking polls recently, Marine Le Pen.
Hello, I'm Regini Vaidinard, and we come on air with some breaking news in the past few moments from France, where the far-right leader, Marine Le Pen, has been banned from running for office after being found guilty of embezzlement.
The judge told the courtroom that, yes, Marine Le Pen will not be able to run in the next election. She's ineligible from this moment.
It's almost like, and we're going to get into how many times this has happened and how we have seen this take place, unfortunately, in the United States. But in case you've forgotten, remember the SDNY Chief Information Officer, Nicholas Biase? He told Mug Club Undercover that Bragg's hush money case was, the case against Donald Trump, was really just a perversion of justice. They were looking for a reason to get Trump for anything.
He was stacking charges and rearranging things just to make it fit a case. No, to be honest with you, I think the case is nonsense.
What's the point of even doing it then?
To make him a convict. Yeah, but it affects his candidacy if he's a convicted felon.
It's a travesty of justice. To put it mildly, it's a mockery of justice.
Yeah, so going through this, not only historically, but in recent memory, and that's what's so scary. Le Pen was a huge favorite.
Yeah, something like 18 points, I think, in the latest.
And of course, it's a far way out, but for the 2027 presidential election, like a huge favorite. In other words, this isn't just some fringe person who no one cares about.
It's like Donald Trump.
Yes. They accused her of misusing EU funds, basically. So she's barred from office for 5 years, and she has a 4-year sentence, I guess, for prison. Half of the sentence is suspended. The rest of it can be served with an ankle monitor. Who cares, right? You don't need that information. This is about the playbook that you see from the left. Remember Bolsonaro? They used their Supreme Court to effectively do this. He was banned from running until 2030. Then, of course, you see, and this is a guy, by the way, who leads the current leader of Brazil at this very moment.
Despite not even being able to run.
Yeah, not even being able to run. The AfD in Germany, right? They finished as the second most popular party in the country, and now leftists are pushing to completely ban them before the next election.
Well, because they called them Nazis.
Because they called them Nazis.
Yeah. And that's a thing in Germany. So.
And I think in these other countries, they do it very effectively because it all starts with speech laws. Mm-hmm. It all starts with speech laws. If you declare speech to be hateful, you can now label anyone who speaks in a way that you deem unacceptable to be an extremist. It's not just racist. It's not just homophobic. It's not just transphobic. It's not just, they go extremist, right? They now pivot to some political capital and go, we can't allow ourselves to be governed by extremists. And really all it stems from is someone saying, hey, France should be for French people, or hey, Germany should be for Germans, or hey, the United States should be for American citizens. And I go, oh, wait, that's ethnocentric. That's jingoistic. That's extremist. We now have a law that doesn't allow political extremism. And you see that in Europe. Now,
the problem with extremism is that you can define it however you see fit.
Exactly.
When you're in power.
You start with hate speech laws. Well, you start with hate crimes, then you go to hate speech, and then you shift to political extremism. It's extremist rhetoric. Extremist rhetoric. Now, what would the left do in the United States? You can see what they do across Europe. If they had unfettered power, you also have little petri dishes of that taking place where you can see these experiments. This is why I say if Kamala Harris won the last election, our country is done. Think of what they did with Donald Trump right here. They threw everything at him. Civil suits, E. Jean Carroll, the Mar-a-Lago evaluation where the banks weren't complaining. No one was cheated. People made money. They were all happy. The criminal charges on January 6th, right, where he said, make your voices heard peacefully and patriotically. The mishandling of documents, which wasn't even close to what former Vice President Joe Biden did, and having it next to his Corvair. The hush money case, right, with Stormy Daniels, where really this case was about the fact that She had said it had never happened, and he came out and called her a liar, and so it also involved libel. It also involved slandering her, even though she said that it didn't happen. This whole thing just gets so convoluted where it's, hey, how can we bog down somebody to prevent them from running? Should we be more concerned about someone not leaving office, which hasn't happened, at least not this century, or should we be more concerned about what is happening right before our eyes? I would argue right now, in most consequential elections that determine the future of the free world, whether it's Germany, whether it's France, whether it's Brazil, whether it's here in the United States, that's a concern to me. Why? Because it's happened. And it's happening again and again and again and again.
To one side, too. To one ideology.
And maybe Le Pen did it. Hey, did Macron do it? Well, who's incentivized to investigate Macron?
That's exactly right. So that's the whole thing with this, is that she's not being accused of stealing money. People see embezzling funds and think, oh my gosh, she just enriched herself. No. What they're saying is that she misused EU funds. Instead of using it for, I believe, for the EU, she used it for party politics, to pay staffers, to do events and things like that, which was a very common practice, apparently. And now she's being charged selectively. Now, if I got any of that wrong, research, let me know. But it doesn't seem like that would be the case for anybody else that this has happened to. And why prevent her from running for 5 years? What is that? Oh, that's right. It keeps her from 2027, and maybe she'll go away next time.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll happen.
It was the same thing with Donald Trump.
She's appealing, but who knows? That process takes a little while.
And by the way, this is why during the primaries, remember when we some of us I liked DeSantis. I think he was a good governor. I was going, okay, it may be, he's doing pretty well here. The polls seem ahead. But remember, I always said, I feel like I owe Trump this one. Yes. That was my logic in this. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Why? Because they're trying to jail him and destroy his life, yes. And he's put a lot in the line. And I'm sorry. And that in that scenario, I feel like I've got to be loyal to the guy because he stands a lot to lose. DeSantis can run again later. It's not how I usually make my political decisions, but it was for this one. Because what if that was you? And by the way, it can be you. We have a justice system that any judge, any agency can just go, you today, and your life is ruined. Your life is ruined. And they have more tools at their disposal right now. Now they don't just have the ability to audit you, to prosecute you. They also have the ability to make a couple of calls, as we've now seen from leaked documents, to press and go, let's just destroy you in the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Let's just say you sexually harassed someone, or let's just say, I don't know, you do drugs, or I don't know, you stole something. Let's just say something, put it out there, and your reputation is tarnished forever. That's why I felt like we had to go with Donald Trump. Also, he would have an axe to grind and do the most to correct that.
I was about to say, so every single Republican candidate for president from here on out should thank Donald Trump for taking all the arrows.
Yeah.
Because now he was able to go in there, get his hands dirty, clean things up, and now every Republican after him can come in. You can't have a Ron DeSantis go in right now. Do you think he would have done this stuff? Maybe he would have been tough on the border. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Right? He would have been okay on the economy. I think he's done a decent job down there in Florida. Do you think he's dismantling stuff? Do you think he's inviting Elon Musk to come in and do those? Do you think he's putting people in place that are going to shake up what we do with NATO and Europe and Canada and Mexico and China and our policies with Iran? No. I don't think so. That was the milquetoast Republican candidacy that we saw from Ron DeSantis, and that's not the time for it right now.
It's not the time for it right now. And by the way, what it is the time for, see,
what's that?
Live read modes. LWC tips at protonmail.com. If you have a tip, if you see something, waste, abuse, corruption, send your tip to LWC tips at protonmail.com. We have a team that's always chasing down leads and really following the trail as best we can. We only bring you what we know to be true and what we can prove.
Give me the Glengarry leads.
They're gold, and you don't get them.
Thank you for going with me on that.
Tips are for closers. What do TikTok nurses, COVID lockdowns, and lesbian school teachers have in common? None of them will be included in this next video if you click it. It's the internet. It's a cruel, dark place. I can't promise you the world. But today, I can offer you that. And isn't that a step in the right direction?